Hi, honey. Gracie?
Hi, Robin. Can you hear me?
Yes, how are you?
I'm doing good. I just don't know if my internet is. I hope it is.
Let's see. I'm going to record it and then we'll just publish it as a non-live. The internet has been really
Yeah, that's fine.
So before we get started, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. Yeah, really good. Just working away, helping people in the midst of this crisis. Yeah, so our supermarkets are full. There's no panicking over here. We knew this was coming, and we went into lockdown nearly 12 days ago. We knew it was going to hit the rest of the world. Nobody listened. What Italy and China and everywhere else had warned. So yeah, but just staying grounded and helping people as best I can, honey.
It's so good. And I was thinking that you and I are, and people like us are kind of wired for this. We already work from home. We have everything set up, and think about all the wisdom
Yeah,
we're being able to share with people in a new way.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, you can really see people having a hard time adjusting, but yeah, we were set up, and Tesco works from home as well, and yeah. It's
Awesome.
really good to see you're doing this as well. I think it's a great conversation for people, Robin.
It's a great conversation and it's timely and it's relevant and people and I'm sure you're finding this too, everyone is just so hungry for connection, hungry for information and
Yeah.
trying to cope with the uncertainty as best that they can. And I think that those of us who have been practicing this for a long time have a lot of wisdom that we can share with people that some of it is obvious,
Yeah.
some of it is more subtle, but it's pretty precious work that we can do right now.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. We're blessed in this position.
I agree. I'm going to go ahead and do a brief intro. I'll just edit out that beginning piece and then we'll go ahead and get
Oh,
started.
good. Yeah, I really hope it sticks. So, yeah.
We'll figure out a different way to do it, but I just wanted to be able to have a conversation.
Yeah, good.
And welcome to this episode of Living and Working in this Time of Uncertainty. I have with me today a very, very dear friend and colleague of mine who I've known for literally years, Kelly, who is in Puglia, Italy. And I invited her to come on and talk with us about this, her perspective on living and working in this uncertain time. And Grace, we'll have time for you to share kind of how you approach this and everything. But I just want to welcome you to this episode. And I'm so grateful that we have technology to be able to connect even.
Aha. Yes, it's a wonderful thing.
So tell me, can you just give us kind of boots on the ground, what's going on where you are in the world and
Yeah.
how?
Well, here in Italy, Robin, we're nearly 12 days into the lockdown, and I must say people are very composed. Everyone's respecting the rules that the government have set with social distancing. The supermarkets are stocked. No one's going crazy in terms of panicking with purchasing or anything like that. And it's really confirmed for me, just given the fact that Italy went into lockdown immediately, it's confirmed for me that it puts the well-being of the people first. And for me, Robin, as you know, that's a high value of mine, putting the well-being first. And so, it matters. The well-being of the people matter here. So it's perhaps not as crazy as it's being expressed in the media, although I can't be certain how you guys are all receiving it over there in terms of what's happening in Italy. But people are, following the restrictions, and of course, we don't love it because we're all social, and Italians love to eat together and drink together and go to the restaurant together, and as long as they're together, they're happy. So it's a big challenge aspect.
For sure, and you bring up a good point about the connection. The thing that I've seen from the Italians, and I know several of you over there, so just that optimism and the connection. And of course, the video that went viral is when everyone was singing to each other, from their window. Really special moments like that. What is your take on, from your position as a coach and a mentor and an advisor to the people in this world? What are the things that have been themes that are showing up for you, things that you've been supporting people on specifically?
Yeah, well, this week alone, obviously, Robin, it's people are getting a little more panicky as the USA starts to realize the impact and the numbers, and the people are being tested on your side of the world now, and the bad news is coming forward. So I have to say, this week there's been a lot more calls in terms of how, settling people, back into their true nature and their deeper resilience, rather than necessarily looking at, fulfillment and plans for career, which is an area that I would often be looking at with clients. So it's very much pointed towards helping people remember who they are at their core at this particular time. And I think that if I can help people settle down and come back to center and simply remember that there is an inner resilience and a wisdom within that is not, dependent on a virus going away in order to be okay, then people seem to feel lighter, and people seem to feel a little more at ease and able to proceed with the rest of their day or the rest of their week. I think the problem area is when we get into a complete panic and, we get paralyzed. And I'm sure you're noticing that too within your client base, Robin, that there are sometimes people that just are completely overwhelmed with an uncertainty like this. People losing their jobs, people losing their income, supermarkets running dry. It's an unprecedented experience in life. And the more that we can just show up, as we were saying earlier, just show up and share what we see and help as best we can, then the better it is for the humans that are really suffering through this.
You bring up so many good points about calming. I always say we have to calm the nervous system first. Like that's especially when there's so much uncertainty in the world, the brain and the nervous system go into high alert. And I always, I don't know, do you know the story about Chicken Little and the sky is falling? That kind of, that mentality. It's maybe an American story, but the sky is falling. It's that panic that people experience sometimes, and bringing them back, as you said, to center is a really important right now. I have, my clients are on the front lines. I've got physicians who I'm working with who are literally in hand-to-hand combat at this point, doing what they do to serve their communities and so on. One of my clients is running a command center at our hospital system. So it's that piece. It's helping those leaders stay in the best space that they can possibly stay, so that they can actually do their work. That's the trick, isn't it? To, in spite of the uncertainty and in spite of having so many unknowns, it's like, how do you keep moving forward? And for leaders, it really is about taking really good care of themselves behind the scenes and being able to express their very human fears, very human concerns, their exhaustion behind the scenes, so that when they have to lead again, which is always, but when they have to go back out to their people, they can go out with a clear heart and a clear mind so that they can make those decisions that are sometimes impossible to make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a hugely important work you're doing there, Robin, you know, working with people like that on the front line. I mean, what's really helped me, and maybe I hadn't shared this with you in the last couple of years, but I came across an understanding about 4 years ago that has completely shifted my experience of fear and panic and anxiety and stress. And I would say it gave me about an 80% increase in well-being.
Wow.
And and I'll tell you about that because that, you know, people are sort of saying to me as well, you know, well, why aren't you stressing and panicking? And I really do put it down to this understanding. What it points to essentially is that we're all experiencing the world according to the principle of thought, and that our experience of the world is subject to change as our thinking changes. That we don't get stuck in any one experience at any one time, thanks to that. And I find it very hopeful, Robin, because now what I see is that I can be feeling really fearful and really scared about something, and know that that feeling doesn't indicate a terrible future, but rather is alerting me to my state of mind in the moment. And it got me off the hook. It got me off the hook because I lived my life up until that point being afraid of my experience of life, being afraid of my feelings, thinking my feelings meant I needed to somehow act immediately and urgently, change things, and I lived life in a very reactive way. This understanding has helped me see that, you know, we're all okay. At core, we have a deep wisdom within. I call it the intelligence behind life. It's the same intelligence that's turning acorns into oak trees and embryos into babies without you or I doing anything about it. That at our core, we have this intelligence that knows how to correct the system and the mistakes and the mess, and knows how to guide us to our healthiest choices and our highest levels of wellness. And so these sort of challenges in life no longer set me off course. And for many, many years, the slightest thing would take me down, not knowing where my experience was coming from.
That is mesmerizing, what you just shared. And I think that our listeners are going to want to go back and listen to that many, many more times, because it's such a valuable piece of knowledge and wisdom about really tapping into the eternal part of who we are, that eternal and divine part of us, who is that wise self. And I agree, Grace. I think managing other people's emotions and other people's experiences is the great challenge right now for those of us who have this sort of wisdom. And it's being able to differentiate what's mine, what am I feeling, what are my thoughts, versus what are other people's. And what I always tell my clients is that if you're feeling, what I find usually is that people, my intuitive, sensitive clients, feel everything and assume that it's theirs. But when we look at it and we tap into how much of it is actually theirs, maybe like 20 to 25% of the feeling is theirs, and the rest of it is somebody else's. We're not designed to process other people's emotions and thoughts. It's like putting diesel fuel into a gas engine. It doesn't work very well for very long at all. And so we can just let that go. And I just always advise sending it back into the heart of God. That's where it belongs anyway. And then when you only have 20% to deal with, which is your own stuff, it's easier to tease out. What is my thinking? And am I catastrophizing? And how do I bring myself back to center?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's so hopeful to know that center is our default system, our default setting, and that the craziness and the insecurity and the panic is not home, is not, the system is designed to come back to well-being. And I think that's why so many people, when they feel the way they feel, Robin, they know inherently, hang on a minute, this doesn't feel good. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to have this panic going on. And they very wisely search for ways that they can come back to center. Because it's what would we call it? It's the place of home. It's the default setting.
That's beautiful. Hey, how are you spending your time during the day during this lockdown?
Well, not much has changed actually, but I'll share with you. I am missing the restaurants. Oh God, I'm missing eating out so badly. So
Hey, right?
I'm cooking a lot. My days are quite similar. I generally spend the morning, you know, walking my dogs, getting my house in order, putting on a lovely sort of Italian sauce or something that we're going to be able to eat that evening. I like to do some slow cooking, Robin. So, the morning's kind of just spent in the same way as it was. And then the afternoons that's always been my coaching time and my time to show up with my Facebook group and time to take interviews like these. And then in the evening, Francesco and I will sit down for aperitivo at about 7, and that'll be a few nibbles and a nice glass of vino, and then it will be dinner and maybe something to watch or something to read. I am phoning home a bit more at the moment in the evening and just being in touch with people who are alone, not just my family, but I've got a number of single friends, and I'm calling them. Right after our call, I'll do a kind of a messenger video with a friend in Scotland. So I mean, the rhythm of life is similar to what it was before the virus here, but obviously the movement in terms of being able to move about has it's greatly restricted. I am blessed we can still walk the dogs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Isn't it true that, at least for me, I've found that I'm really evaluating what's important. And what was important 2 weeks ago isn't important today. Like I was getting ready and I have the roots. And I'm like, is it important today? No, it's not important today. The sort of superficial things that we get distracted by and sometimes obsessed with have sort of started falling away. And what we're left with are the main things, the most important things, the human connection, talking to friends and family. I have a little 7-year-old niece who has Snapchat, and she's teaching me Snapchat. So we've been talking. Her mom is on the front lines. Her mom's a physician, my sister, and she's doing, she's on call and doing her thing. And so I'm helping out from a distance with the kids just to stay connected, and just cute things like that really are still heart openers, and there's still ways of connecting without, obviously being in the same space, which is I'm so grateful for technology, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I have a group of sort of expat friends here nearby, and every night at about 6 o'clock in the evening, they get on Zoom and they choose a song each day that they're going to do a version of, and they dress up in a particular outfit and everything. I mean, I'm amazed at the creativity. And then they send the recording to us all. So, you know, it's so lovely to see, like you said, Robin, it's so lovely to see the human connection and interaction virtually, you know, and not being dependent necessarily on face to face. So we are blessed to be in this era of technology. In fact, a number of women came forward this week, yoga teachers, interestingly, and healers, asking for my business coaching on getting moved online. And I realized just how many people weren't necessarily online for their business yet. And this virus, this crisis, is really pushing us into the technology, the era of technology. It's like the big movement.
Really, for sure. Hold on just a second. I need to shut my door. I have something I want to share too.
Sure.
So, you know, you and I have been working from home for a long time. Well, my husband is a financial advisor, and this is his first day at home. So he's downstairs. I've got the upstairs. He went out. I just heard the garage open, so I wanted to close my door so that finish without, you know, he'll turn on the news again and do his thing as an FA. So the adjustments that we have to make are really interesting. And I wanted to ask you about this too, this existential piece of what's going on in our world. So what I've noticed as a psychologist is that, and as just a human observing behavior, is that people get really obsessed about these little things that really in the whole scheme of things don't truly matter. You know, whether it's the runs on toilet paper, or my husband has said that he goes to the markets and there's no chicken. There's everything else, but there's no chicken. It's just really strange things like that. And I thought, this is when we as humans have existential questions. Am I going to be okay? Is everything going to be okay? What's the point of this? How do I make sense of this? Those deeper questions often get masked by those impatient moments that we have, or the temper tantrums that we have about silly things that really don't matter. And I'm wondering or curious about what your take is on that particular issue around the existential emergency that many people are having as what I consider a call to awaken, actually.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, Robin. I think it's I think it's also a call. Well, I think it's a call to awaken and slow down. You know, I think we've been going very, very fast for a very long time, and the number of suicides and addictions and deaths that are happening through addiction only goes to really reflect just how lost and just how lost humanity is getting. And I think our speed is part of that. And to me, what it looks like, Robin, is it looks like a halt to the hustle. That's how I'm describing this current situation. It's a halt to the hustle and a call to slow down. And when we get halted in our rushing, in our doing, in our constant need for action, all sorts of things will come to the surface, of course, right? All sorts of things will start to arise. As I see it, people are just at the mercy of their insecure thinking, and their behavior reflects the level of insecurity they're in. So when I see people panic buying en masse, I can see a bunch of humans just innocently lost in insecure thought, behaving in a way insecurely that they think will bring them safety and nourishment and will solve the problem. And I think that's the best any of us can do when we're in insecure thought and we don't know it. You know, I think we just make decisions and take actions that look a bit insane, and can be a bit selfish to the rest of to the others, right? So I'm less likely to criticize the behavior of my fellow humans right now, because I can see a world of people not understanding that their experience is coming from the level of insecure thinking they're living in all day long. And of course, insecurity speeds us up as well. We get faster, we get more scared. We turn to drugs and alcohol, in this case, food, perhaps in the supermarket. We turn to the outer in that search to feel better. So I think for me, it's important just to remember, and I hope this is helpful for your audience, but it's important to remember everybody's doing the best they can to feel better. And right now, a lot of people have a gun to their head, and that gun is making them behave in very innocent but insecure ways.
Oh, Gracie, such wise thoughts from you. I so appreciate being able to come on to this.
Sure.
You. How can people find out more about you and your work?
Well, I guess just come to the website or come to the Facebook group. We got gracefulcoaching.net, and we've got the Grace Notes Facebook group. Maybe you can link that, Robin. I don't know the URL. I think it's like Facebook Grace's group.
We'll track that down for sure, because I think that in such a time as this, it's so important to have voices of reason, and because there's so much noise going on right now. And part of my motivation in doing this is to highlight some of my most trusted humans on this planet as voices of reason that people can actually listen to and learn from and grow with, during a very uncommon time that we're living in. And it just occurred to me, I'm gonna stop calling it an uncertain time and call it an uncommon time, because that's actually what it is. We always live in uncertainty, but I think when we get into our rhythm of days on the wheel, it doesn't feel uncertain. But when we're faced with transformation, everything can feel uncertain. But I'm shifting it now to just calling it, this is uncommon. And what are we doing with ourselves and our lives, and how are we going to during this uncommon time?
I love that. I love that insight you just had. And I think, yeah, I think these conversations you're having are just so hopeful for people and helpful. So thanks for having me on.
It's the greatest asset of all is to instill hope. So that's the Thank you so much for your time and your energy and your attention. And I think we should do it again.
Yeah, lovely, Robin. Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now, and I will see you guys next time on our next